In the lands between, dragons are amongst the most fearsome and powerful creatures, but they are very ancient and the time when they once ruled has long been over. Throughout your journey, you may encounter a few of the remaining dragons and strange creatures that resemble them. Magma worms and dragonkin soldiers are very similar to the mighty dragons, but a glimpse under the surface quickly reveals that they are nothing more than imitation. Deep underground, below the eternal night sky and along the Christoffer River, lies a shadow hunched over in the waters. Dragonkin soldiers have the face of a dragon, but a body very similar to the trolls, and possess limbs with hands and feet that have 6 fingers and toes. Their bodies are clad in golden armor, and on their backs is a cape with an odd emblem covering 2 sets of skeletal wings. Their origin is quite mysterious. The frozen lightning spear is an incantation that channels the power of the dragonkin soldiers. It states that the dragonkin were born in the Eternal City, where they knew no true sky nor true lightning. Instead, ice lightning was their weapon. The Nox are the main inhabitants of the Eternal City, Nokron, and long ago the Nox invoked the ire of the Greater Will and were banished deep underground. The location of all 3 known dragonkin soldiers are underground, one in Nokron, one in Nokstella, and the last in the Lake of Rot. There are spirit versions found in the consecrated snowfield, however, these are non-boss versions and they do not drop anything when defeated. The dragon scale blade drops after defeating the dragonkin soldier in the Lake of Rot. Its description reads, "A weapon made by sharpening a gravelstone scale, thought to be the source of ancient dragon immortality into an unclouded blade." Alas, the dragonkin soldiers never attained immortality and perished as decrepit, pale imitations of their skyborn kin. Gravelstone is a small clump of sharp-pointed stones. Such compound stones, found in lands once beset by ancient dragons, are said to be the scales of those very beasts. How the dragonkin soldiers came to be is still unclear, but there are many things unique to Nokron. The silver tear, for instance, which is a formless life form that can mimic other creatures and objects, even the tarnished themselves. The silver tear ashes explain that mimic tears are the result of an attempt by the Eternal City to forge a lord. If the silver tear was the Eternal City's attempt at forging a lord, could the dragonkin soldiers be their attempt at creating dragons with gravelstone? There is, however, another dragon-like beast that roams the lands between, magma worms. This is a quick reminder to subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying this video and want to see more from me. Thanks! The magma worm's scale sword is a curved greatsword wielded by magma worms. The shape resembles a dragon's jaw and is covered in hard scales. It does not note whether the hard scales are in fact gravelstone, but the color of the sword resembles the magma worm's own scales, so it's probably safe to say that it is not. The description continues to paint a better picture of where magma worms come from. It's said that these land-bound dragons were once human heroes who partook in dragon communion, a grave transgression for which they were cursed to crawl the earth upon their bellies, shadows of their former selves. Dragon hearts are riddled with gravelstone. Those who are brave and callous enough to track, slay, and consume the hearts of dragons are known as Drake Knights. They dress in black iron armor that features the spoils of a dragon catch as an emblem of pride as both dragon hunter and partaker of communion. Consuming dragon hearts comes at a high cost, the chance that one will be cursed and transform into a magma worm as their punishment. Or it could just be because of the way dragon communion incantations work with the user's body. The Dragon Claw incantation explains that it transforms the caster into a dragon to tear through foes with dragon claws. Incantation of those who have hunted dragons and feasted upon their hearts. This is a pure and overwhelming power. If the caster transforms their own bodies into dragons, then it may be that they become unable to transform themselves back, overwhelmed by the very power that they sought after. Of course, they are still not actual dragons, simply imitations of them. The curse of the Magma worm did not only affect Drake Knights. The great worm, theodorix, lies at the eastern end of the frozen river in the consecrated snowfields, just before the Cave of the Forlorn. Defeating this large beast rewards the player with 3 dragon hearts and unlocks theodorix's magma. Its description states that it channels the power of the great worm Theodorix. The name of the ancient troll warrior Theodorix lives on, as a hero of the war against the giants. So, Theodorix was once an ancient troll warrior who fought on the side of the Golden Order. There was a theory floating around that dragonkin soldiers were trolls who partook in dragon communion, but this proves otherwise. After looking into both magma worms and the dragonkin soldiers, I'm not convinced that they are related, though they share very similar characteristics. So what exactly are the dragonkin soldiers? I took a look at Square Table Gaming's video on the same topic, and their conclusion was a connection between the dragonkin soldiers and the albinaurics. Their theory basically summed up is that the albinaurics are created from the silver tear, which can be found in Nokron, and that since the dragonkin soldiers were born in the Eternal City, they too were created by the Nox. If you haven't watched their video, I'd highly recommend checking it out. And while I do agree with the albinaurics being created with the silver tears, I don't quite agree with the second part. One of the main reasons is that in their video, they point out that the dragonkin soldiers cannot utilize their legs, very similar to how the first generation albinaurics can't. But that's not quite what's going on. The dragonkin soldiers move their feet and legs quite a bit during battle, they just don't stand straight up or walk on them. This could simply suggest that they are quadrupedal and not bipedal. They move very similarly to Malekith and other actual dragons. It also makes sense that the magma worms would stand up straight on their 2 legs since they were once humans and or other bipedal creatures like the trolls. This makes me believe they're not related to the dragon communion or the albinaurics. So what else could they be related to? Well, I looked into a few areas, but first, let's go over what we can see. Their anatomy is extremely odd and a bit gross the closer you look. Their skin looks bloodied or burnt with wrappings around their arms, legs, and backs. They have golden armor pieces wrapped around their shoulders, hips, and wrists. They have 2 sets of wings that oddly resemble fingers more than wings, and an exposed spine with a very short, bony tail. The cape that hangs over their wings is black and red, with a golden emblem on the back. This could be a unique sigil created specifically for the dragonkin soldiers, or it could be related to something else, though I've not found any connections as of yet. I do find it odd that they are clad in golden armor, as well as the emblem on their cape being gold, which relates more to the Erd Tree and the Golden Order. There is also the ancient dragon cult to consider, which was founded in Leyndell after the war against the ancient dragons. Though it doesn't seem like there is much connection between the ancient dragon cult and the Eternal Cities. There is, however, the nameless Eternal City, which is located deep below the Erd Tree in Leyndell. It could be that the dragonkin soldiers were born in that Eternal City, since the description isn't specific to which of the Eternal Cities they come from. I also looked at the draconic tree sentinels to see if there was any connection there. The malformed golden helm states that it is adorned with various dragon imagery and worn by the misshapen tree sentinels. After the great ancient dragon Grandsax attacked, the Sentinels had an epiphany. The only way to truly protect the Erd Tree was to become dragons themselves. Misshapen is how I would describe the dragonkin soldiers, not the draconic tree sentinels. And becoming dragons themselves does seem to suggest that they attempted to turn themselves into something resembling dragons more than humans. Could they have sought the assistance of the Eternal City? Usually, I leave you all with my theory, but after weeks of research and analyzing everything I could find, I don't have a solid theory, so I'm turning this one over to all of you, my extremely inquisitive and insightful audience. Let me know what you think could be the answer to the origins of the dragonkin soldiers down below. I'm really curious as to what you all think and the connections that you may find that I didn't. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me, and make sure to hit the bell if you want to know when I've uploaded, since I am tweaking my upload schedule. I can't wait to talk to you all in the next one. Bye!